Yeah, David Dread of Steel Pulse, and I'm saying hail to Lion Voice because it's time that the lion have its voice, have its own story. Says I'm stepping out here. Hear me now. Yeah, the lion's voice. Raw.
Well, front to us, a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie I, Ethiopia, Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Lidj Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from the sky. Them call him Lidj Tafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Lidj Tafari. The lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Lidj Tafari. Read your Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England.
Remember, he had gone abroad to Europe. He had seen the military displays, and he knew that what the capabilities were, but he knew that mechanized war. Because remember, these Ethiopians had fought at the in many skirmishes, and in those days, you knew, because this was before the Battle of Adwa, but in those days you knew because the European guns were coming in to the country, and Menelik was purchasing them. Ras Makonnen was doing deals. They were trying to get as many as it was, because this is in time where you have some musket loaded guns, but then you also have the Gatling gun, you have certain other heavy machine gun and certain things. So people overstand. This is a different era, and technology has entered warfare in a way, probably since the bow and arrow, that it had not impacted the fate of a battle. So Ras Makonnen have all of this pressure on his mind, because remember, he's a foreign minister. Most of the Ras, they're running their territory. Yes, they're getting the guns and them a trade, but they're enjoying their power. They're not thinking about the European. They want to preserve their independence. And this is why when I said, when you read about or you study His Majesty's reign, what he was able to accomplish with the opposition, because remember, many of the Rastas didn't think that Ras Makonnen's bloodline had a strong claim to the throne, because he was coming from the female side. His mother was a daughter of King Haile Selassie, so he was coming through the female line, so a lot of people never feel like he had a strong claim. Emperor Menelik's father, King Haile Malakat, was a son of King Haile Selassie, so stronger claim to the throne, but he had no sons. So people weren't even studying, but they knew that Ras Makonnen, because he was so diligent. At this time, people who were studying Ethiopian politics never thought that Ras Makonnen had a real chance. It was whispered that Ras Makonnen could be the heir to the throne, as someone that Menelik really had groomed from. He was a youth and diligent in all things, most trusted. But Ras Makonnen had no male heir. Ras Makonnen was just a dutiful general, emissary at that time, in terms of foreign minister at that time. Nobody seriously, because people were looking at Ras Mangasha, who was the son of Emperor Johannes. They were looking at over in Gojam. They were looking at the different kingdoms, the traditional Solomonic branches, who would produce heirs or war for the throne. People were looking at the landscape and seeing, would Menelik be able to hold, what was happening. So that is the temperature. Harar, where the emperor had just recently been conquered by same Ras Makonnen, working with his cousin Menelik, the second. So the Muslim stronghold, he's trying to build bridges, building mosques, repairing, because there had been a lot of mismanagement by the ruling elite in Harar. So he's trying to come in win the hearts and minds of the people. But yet you have a pregnant woman. So anytime we are moved through, he was made the governor of Harar, he's moving through with a heavy military complement. And we talk about that in the book. Because we don't try pretty it up like it was all flowers and things. Ras Makonnen earned the respect of the people of Harar through his works. That's the type of man he was. Again, Rastafari man standard, it started from the father in the home, So either way you look at it, for I and I, you grew up at least until the age of 13 when Ras Makonnen died, with a strong father in the home. And then when we look at what Ismail inherited, his father left him a legacy. So these are the things on this channel. When we talk about the history, we're still going to relate it forward to Rastafari man standard and the modern time, because for it to have utility, we wanted to make sure that is relevant to the youth of today. So, this was the end of a massive drought. The Kefu Khan, I opened the book with this drought. One of the most dreadful droughts in Ethiopian history. So we opened the book with that drought. And this is coming at the tail end. And now the heavens are opening. Thunder and lightning. So when I'm meditating, I said, this is, the Most High inspiring the name and the word sound, because, when thunder is serious out there, it makes people tremble. So it's a sign, Tafedi, one to be feared, one to be respected. He came with thunder. The first line in the book, Haile Selassie Ethiopia, is that his first cries were drowned by thunder. So that's the first line in the book. So just to show you the levels that we're dealing with. So again, you have to really just know that that the tradition. So when we talk about the Rastafari man standard, it's built on this history, this story. And that's why I wanted to tell the story, because we're not just coming out of thin air, we're coming out of a tradition, out of a knowledge and knowing, a revealing, a revelation of this connection to this unconquered space on the planet Earth that was inhabited by people who look like us, whose blood flows within us from that time to this time, the cradle of all mankind, the cradle of Africa. And coming down through that, this child was born that would again stand in the gap, hold the breach, and that bridge from the ancient to the modern, so that we would have an unconquered pathway into Zion and the building and the rebuilding and the work that needs to be done right now. So join us here. I don't want to get too long. We're just getting started, month of July. This month is going to be, again, the episodes dedicated to the birth of Lidj Tafari by the book. We're planning to do a reading club online where we read through the book. I've been working for some time. A lot of things are happening right now that have pulled me away, but we're going to do a reading club, a collective read of the book. So make sure you get your copy. Before that, we'll try to launch that before the end of the year. We're going to do live streams, different things for the people who love the book, want to read it in a collective so we can reason about the chapters, bring in new history. We'll take some notes. So if we do updated editions, then we can update. But we want to have that dialogue because a lot of people have read the book now. And again, we're getting the feed forward. So this month is Haile Selassie Ethiopia month. We're going to go into the book. We're going to go into the birth. So drop a comment. Let me know if you bought the book, if you enjoy the book. Send pictures too, because we love to share it, encourage others to read. You see the Reading Ras merch. We're bigging up the reading of physical books. You see the Dejazmatch with a book in his hand. So that is the symbol. We're not firing a gun, we're not doing nothing like that. We're building the intellect, which is our greatest weapon against the coming beast and the coming calamity on mankind. So we give thanks, because why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
tell him about Lidj Tafari, tell him about Haile Selassie I. When me tell him about Lidj Tafari, tell him about Haile Selassie I. When me tell him about Lidj Tafari, tell him about Haile Selassie I. When me tell him about Lidj Tafari, tell him about Haile Selassie I. The 23rd of July, born in a province named Harar, I burn them God from sky. Cause I know the prophecy is true, cause unto us a son was born 1892. We build the OAU, come break all chains. Tell them Tafari was his name, the same man that crowned as the Rasta. It didn't come past. Went from Lidj to Dejazmatch, who governed in Harar from the age of 13. This is you blessed with Irit, supreme first king. You're the throne with him queen. Hear the trumpet sound, gather round, tell the youths them come in. Hail Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie I. Let me tell them bow Lidj Tafari, tell them bow Haile Selassie I. Tell them so fight so many wars, just to centralize the tribes. It's no 9 to 5, the reigns came when the king arrived. Cause out of the womb of H.I.M, I bet he survived, born wise. Plus he focused on his plan, no joke. Armies await his command. They say a child shall lead the way. When them see how the warriors surround, that's when the people them say, this child destined for the throne. When them see how we govern in Harar, that's when they all bow down. The government on his shoulders, Mussolini coming with his plan. He's preparing his soldiers, but his plan has to fail. Weep not, the Lion of Judah prevail. Hail Lidj Tafari, tell him bow Haile Selassie I.